Okay, I think we can go another sutta. Sutta 71. Tevijjavacchagotta Sutta, to Vacchagotta on the threefold true knowledge. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Vesali in the great wood, in the hall with the peaked roof. Now, on that occasion, the wanderer Vacchagotta was staying in the wondrous park of the single white lotus mango tree. Then, when it was morning, the Blessed One dressed, and taking his bowl and outer robe, went into Vesali for alms. Then the Blessed One thought, it is still too early to wander for alms in Vesali. Suppose I went to the wanderer Vacchagotta in the wondrous park of the single white lotus mango tree. Then the Blessed One went to the wanderer Vacchagotta in the wondrous park of the single white lotus mango tree. The wanderer Vacchagotta saw the Blessed One coming in the distance and said to him, let the Blessed One come, Venerable Sir. Welcome to the Blessed One. It is long since the Blessed One found an opportunity to come here. Let the Blessed One be seated. This seat is ready. The Blessed One sat down on the seat made ready, and the wanderer Vacchagotta took a low seat, sat down at one side. I'll stop here for a moment. So from here you can see that the Buddha is quite friendly with other ascetics. Even they have wrong view. He goes to visit them. Probably he thinks if they talk, he has a chance of helping them on the spiritual path. And they generally have great respect for the Buddha, like here, you see, he took a low seat. And he said to the Blessed One, Venerable Sir, I have heard this. The recluse Gautama claims to be omniscient and all-seeing, to have complete knowledge and vision thus. Whether I am walking or standing or sleeping or awake, knowledge and vision are continuously and uninterruptedly present to me. Venerable Sir, to those who speak thus, say what has been said by the Blessed One, and not misrepresent him with what is contrary to fact. Do they explain in accordance with the Dhamma in such a way that nothing which provides a ground for censure can be legitimately deduced from their assertion? And the Buddha said, Vaccha, those who say thus do not say what has been said by me, but misrepresent me with what is untrue and contrary to fact. Stop here for a moment. During the Buddha's time, there were 6 famous external sect teachers, and some of them claimed that they were omniscient and all-seeing, that all the time they have complete knowledge and vision, whether they are walking or standing or sleeping. They are continuously and uninterruptedly knowing everything. But in Sutta Majjhima Nikaya 90, section 8, the Buddha says, there is no recluse or Brahmin who knows all, who sees all simultaneously, because that is not possible. So the Buddha, when he wants to know something, he has to contemplate. And because of his psychic powers, when he contemplates, he can get to know what he wants to know, but it is not automatic. Venerable Sir, how should I answer that I may say what has been said by the Blessed One and not misrepresent him with what is contrary to fact? How may I explain in accordance with the Dhamma in such a way that nothing which provides a ground for censure can be legitimately deduced from my assertion? Vaccha, if you answer thus, the recluse Gautama has the threefold true knowledge, you will be saying what has been said by me, and will not misrepresent me with what is contrary to fact. You will explain in accordance with the Dhamma in such a way that nothing which provides a ground for censure can be legitimately deduced from your assertion. For in so far as I wish, I recollect my manifold past lives, that is 1 birth, 2 births, etc., 100 births, 1,000 births, many aeons of world expansion and contraction. Thus with the aspects and particulars, I recollect my manifold past lives. And in so far as I wish, with the divine eye, which is purified and surpasses the human, I see beings passing away and reappearing, inferior and superior, fair and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate. And I understand how beings pass on according to their actions, etc. And by realizing for myself with direct knowledge, I here now enter upon and abide in the liberation by mind and liberation by wisdom that are taintless with the destruction of the taints. If you answer thus, the recluse Gautama has the threefold true knowledge, you will be saying what has been said by me, and will not misrepresent me with what is contrary to fact. You will explain in accordance with the Dhamma in such a way that nothing which provides a ground for censure can be legitimately deduced from your assertion. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, if you want, you can say that the Samana Gautama has the threefold knowledge. The Buddha, he can recollect the past, and then he has a divine eye or heavenly eye, can see beings passing away and be arising in another state according to the law of karma vipaka. And thirdly, he has understood the Four Noble Truths and destroyed the asavas and attained liberation. When this was said, the wanderer Vacchagotta asked the Blessed One, Master Gautama, is there any householder who, without abandoning the fetter of householdership on the dissolution of the body, has made an end of suffering? Vacha, there is no householder who, without abandoning the fetter of householdership on the dissolution of the body, has made an end of suffering. Stop here for a moment. So here, basically, the Buddha says that no lay person can become an arahant. But there are cases during the Buddha's time. There were a few, maybe one or two, who attained arahanthood. But once they attain arahanthood, they will naturally renounce. They cannot stay at home anymore. They have killed off the old self. The Buddha says when a monk attains liberation, he is reborn. He is reborn again. The old lay person has died. He is reborn from the mouth of the Buddha. So there was this case of Yassa. Yassa was a very rich man with at least 4 wives, and the Buddha made him come to the forest to the Buddha in the middle of the night, and after that the Buddha taught him the Dhamma. Hearing the Dhamma twice from the Buddha, he attained arahanthood. Then after that, he could not go back home anymore. So on the dissolution of the body, when he dies, he must renounce. As a householder, he cannot become an arahant and remain a householder. And this contradicts the Mahayana Sutras, like the Vimalakirti Sutra, that they claim that the Bodhisattva Vimalakirti achieve a higher state than the Arahant Sariputta. And he remained as a layman. He could go and enjoy himself, socialize, go to karaoke, and join enjoy all the worldly pursuits, and yet he has such a high state, higher than the Arahant. This is simply not possible according to the original suttas. Master Gautama, is there any householder who, without abandoning the fetter of householdership on the dissolution of the body, has gone to heaven? Vacha, there are not only 100 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 500, but far more householders who, without abandoning the fetter of householdership on the dissolution of the body, have gone to heaven. So the Buddha says, his lay devotees, without renouncing, even as lay persons, thousands and thousands of them have gone to heaven. Master Gautama, is there any ajivaka who, on the dissolution of the body, has made an end of suffering? And the Buddha said, Vacha, there is no ajivaka who, on the dissolution of the body, has made an end of suffering. Master Gautama, is there any ajivaka who, on the dissolution of the body, has gone to heaven? And the Buddha said, when I recollect the past 91 aeons or world cycles, Vacha, I do not recall any ajivaka who, on the dissolution of the body, went to heaven, with one exception, and he held the doctrine of the moral efficacy of action, the doctrine of the moral efficacy of deeds, that is karma. And then Vacha said, that being so, Master Gautama, this fold of other sectarians is empty even of a chance of going to heaven. And the Buddha said, that being so, Vacha, this fold of other sectarians is empty even of a chance of going to heaven. That is what the Blessed One said. The wanderer Vacchagotta was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So this last part, he was asking about Ajivakkas. These Ajivakkas, the Ajivaka ascetics, they are naked ascetics, and the leader is called Makali Gosala Putta. In the, I think, Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha castigated this Makali, Gosala Putta, called him a fool. Why? Because he teaches that there is no such thing as karma vipaka, no action and the result of action. So the Buddha said he is leading his followers into the woeful plains of rebirth, just like a fish trap. A fish trap, if you have this net, or the fish will swim, follow that net until it enters the trap, it cannot come out. So the Buddha says in the same way, these followers of this Makali Gosala Putta, they follow him and end up in the woeful plains of rebirth. So here the Buddha says, not a single Ajivaka has become an Arahant. And then he asks, is there any Ajivaka gone to heaven? The Buddha says, in the last 91 world cycles, he only saw one. And that one also he went to heaven because he believed in the law of karma vipaka, which is contrary to what his teacher teaches. So that being so, these Ajivakas, they even have no chance of going to heaven. That's the end of the sutta. Okay, I stop here. Anything to discuss? I think if a monk wants to progress on the spiritual path, he should be very careful of these dangers. If possible, he should not use a handphone or laptop and all that, if possible. But sometimes it may be necessary. For example, like our monastery, we don't have a line phone for communication, and we don't have email, we don't have internet access and all these things. So the only way people can communicate with us is through the handphone. So for us, the monastery, it is necessary. But I try to discourage monks from having a personal handphone. Because if they contact the family too much, then they cannot cut off. Especially for a new monk, this first 1 or 2 years, the first few years to cut off contact with the family is very, very difficult. The Buddha says, iron chains are not as strong as the chain of family ties. Family ties are deeply rooted in us, and it's very painful to cut family ties. But if a monk wants to progress on the spiritual path, he has to cut family ties. Initially, the family will feel a lot of pain, but after a while they come to accept it. And after they come to accept it, then the monk can progress. And later, the monk, if he wants, he can help them by bringing Dhamma to them. Like in my case, When I renounced, my mother was still alive, and being the youngest in the family, my mother was very attached to me. The first 1.5 years after I renounced, she told me every day when she thinks of me, the tears will come down. And I knew the attachment was very strong. I tried not to go home. And even when I came back from America, I only visit her like once in 8 or 9 months. And then when I asked her what she wanted, she said, I don't want anything, I only want to see you. Then I made the determination to see her once in 6 months, or only once in 6 months. And then my sisters were also very close to me. So when I told some of them not to address me by my lay name, but call me Bante, some of them were very hurt. But later, after I learned the Dhamma, then I taught them the Dhamma, then they became very happy. So the initial part, to cut family ties, is very painful. But it is better for them to suffer earlier than later, because a lot of people, they cannot cut this family tie, and they bring it to their grave. In the last moments of dying, this pain is not good. This attachment may bring them to a woeful plane of rebirth. So when we cut the family tie early stage, it is very painful. But once they accept it, then it is very good for them. They learn to let go. So my mother died at the age of 99. So it was after I had renounced for more than 20 years, she passed away. But at that time, the last few years, she had let go already. Each time I saw her, she said she was very happy, mentally very happy, because she had sort of no more attachments. She had already let go. So if I did not cut that tie up to the very end, she will be thinking of me. It's not good for her.
In that case, for human beings, the first years or so, it's called family wrong. But it is happening in short way, that even now we understand with the encouragement to be when we see now and now we learn we believe that
Yeah, it's difficult. I have to use your wisdom. Maybe if they are not ready to strive very hard, they can still maintain contact. But once they have the determination to strive hard, then they have to cut completely. For example, go off to a foreign country. And not only go off to a foreign country, stay alone in some cave or some place. Or even in Malaysia, stay alone in some place. When I came back from America, then after that I went to Thailand to renounce, to reordain. Then after a year in Thailand, I came back to Malaysia. I went to look for a cave to stay in Ipoh area. And I went and I was staying alone in a big dark cave. Then my sister brought my mother to see me, and when my mother saw me in that cave, she just cried and cried. I scolded my sister for bringing my mother to see me in that cave. So it's difficult, but you have to just make a clear cut in the meaning. That is provided the monk wants to strive very hard. If he does not want to strive very hard, then he doesn't have to make that clean cut.
Page 583, paragraph 17. Paragraph 23, the second part of the paragraph 23. The Buddha says, he realizes the body, the ultimate truth, and sees it by penetrating his wisdom. He realizes with the body engaged. It means that he is without body try with the body and with the sound body, good body, the hands. This is why in the Deva land they don't try. Perhaps the university is not in the land. Is that why the people try with the body?
He realizes with the body. Yeah. This one may be referring to attaining the jhanas. Attaining the jhanas. Then after he attains the jhanas, then the mind becomes clear. That means he strives with the body and attains the jhanas and sees the truth and penetrates with wisdom. Oh yes. That's why when the Buddha was fasting, doing all those fasting was so thin that he realized he could not attain the jhanas. So he decided to eat one meal a day. When he regained his strength, then only he could regain his jhanas. Yes, during the Buddha's time, almost all the monasteries were in the forest. That's why when they go on alms round, because they are staying in the forest, usually they are topless. They only wear the sarong or sabong, the lower robe, and then they walk towards town. And then when they come near the town or city, then only they put on the outer robe. And then they enter the town, go on alms round. And then when they leave the city gates, they will take off the upper robe and put it on their head and walk to the forest. So most of the time they were topless. And it was only later the Buddha allowed the monks to stay in the towns, and then also if a monk could not stay in the forest, for example, if a monk is too old, generally if a monk wants to practice, it is practically impossible to practice if a monk stays in town or city. It's impossible because you have so much contact with lay people. Lay people is always coming to talk with you and all that, so it's not possible. If a monk wants to strive, he needs seclusion and aloofness from people. So only that way he can attain the jhana.
Last night, because we have asked about breakfast, whether breakfast is a meal. As far as I understand, that porridge, the American congee, is not considered a meal. Then, why, I just like to know whether it's allowable after noon congee.
Okay, so this breakfast, it is a meal depending on what you eat. So like even like congee, if you put meat inside, it's a meal. This broth, but if you just have plain congee, there are certain allowances the Buddha allowed that a monk can take in the morning, and it's not considered a meal. For example, things made of flour. I think milk also is included because in one sutta, Dhananjani Sutta, this layman, he offered milk to Venerable Sariputta before the main meal. And after noon, in the Vinaya, if something is watery, it is allowed. If it is too thick, it's not allowed. So for example, like this, this rice water is allowed, but not the rice itself. And like say, like the green peas, red beans and all that. If you cook it, you can't take the solid part. You have to filter it. You have to strain it. Then you can take the liquid. So it depends on what you take. Okay, shall we end here?